Oklahoma has executed its fourth prisoner in 4 months after executing a man who committed a quadruple murder in 2005. Gilbert Ray Postelle, born on June 22, 1986, received a lethal injection on February 17, 2022. The execution comes 4 months after the state of Oklahoma resumed lethal injections after almost 7 years, resulting in 3 other executions. Postelle shot his victims in the trailer massacre on Memorial Day, which was May 30th in 2005 in Oklahoma City. The murderer claimed his actions, which took the lives of James Alderson, 57, Terry Smith, 56, Donnie Swindle, 49, and Amy Wright, 26, were connected to a motorcycle accident his father had suffered, leaving him badly hurt. Gilbert Ray Postelle was 18 when he used an AK-47 rifle to kill the 4 victims at an Oklahoma City trailer home park in 2005, but the criminal says he doesn't remember the killings because of the methamphetamine he had taken in the prior days. Postelle was charged with shooting James Alderson, Terry Smith, Donnie Swindle and Amy Wright to death on Memorial Day, although he did not deny his involvement during a December 2021 clemency hearing. His attorneys argued that he should not be executed for various reasons, including a learning disability. Postelle requested a stay of execution in December 2021 after claiming the lethal injection penalty is unconstitutional. The execution of Gilbert Ray Postelle, 35, is the 4th lethal injection in Oklahoma since October, when the state resumed lethal injections following a nearly 7-year hiatus. During a clemency hearing in December, Postelle did not deny his involvement in the Memorial Day 2005 shooting deaths of James Alderson, Terry Smith, Donnie Swindle and Amy Wright. But Postelle's attorney, Robert Nance, argued that his client suffered from a learning disability, the abandonment of his mother at a young age, and had begun abusing methamphetamine on a nearly daily basis beginning at age 12. One IQ test put his score at 76. He's a different man than he was, Nance told the Pardon and Parole Board. I think he needs a certain amount of forgiveness, because he grew up in an environment that was almost exclusively negative. Postelle himself also testified via video link from the prison that he had been using meth for days before the killings and remembered little about the crimes. I do understand that I'm guilty and I accept that, he said. There's nothing more that I know to say to you all than I am truly sorry for what I've done to all these families. Prosecutors say Postelle, his brother David Postelle, father Brad Postelle and Randall Bias, carried out the killings in a blitz attack motivated by their belief that Swindle was responsible for a motorcycle accident that left Brad Postelle seriously injured. But prosecutors said there was no evidence that Swindle was involved in the crash. Gilbert Postelle received 2 death sentences for the killings of Wright and Alderson after evidence showed he pursued the 2 as they were trying to flee and shot them from behind with a rifle. His father got life without parole. His father was deemed to be incompetent to stand trial due to his head injuries he got from the motorcycle accident, and Randall Bias testified for the state, and his charges were later dropped. In her final moments, Amy Wright was screaming and clawing the ground to escape from Gilbert Postelle. Gilbert Postelle received life without the possibility of parole for the murders of his 2 other victims. The board also heard powerful testimony from one of the victims' mothers, Mary Jo Swindle, who said she never got to see her son's body because it was so riddled with bullets. The panel ultimately voted 4-1 to deny clemency for Postelle. His daughter, ex-wife, fiancé and other supporters on February 1, 2022 called on Governor Kevin Stitt to delay the execution until after the federal trial. The governor did not. Oklahoma once had one of the busiest death chambers in the country. But all executions were put on hold in 2015 after a botched lethal injection in 2014 and drug mix-ups that led to one inmate being executed with the wrong drug. Another inmate was just moments away from being led to the death chamber before prison officials realized the same wrong drug had been delivered for his execution. In 2020, Oklahoma's then Attorney General Mike Hunter said the state had secured a source of drugs, fine-tuned its lethal injection protocols, and was prepared to resume executions using a 3-drug combination that includes the sedative midazolam, vicuronium bromide, a paralytic, and potassium chloride, which stops the heart. Postelle declined his option to have a spiritual advisor present with him in the chamber. The execution process began at 10:01 a.m. on the 17th of February 2022, and Gilbert Ray Postelle was declared unconscious at 10:06 a.m. He was declared deceased at 10:14 a.m. Postelle is the latest execution to be conducted by the state since October 2021. John Grant, who was sentenced to death in 1998 after killing an Oklahoma Corrections Center kitchen worker, was the first person in nearly 7 years to be executed by the state. Bigler Stouffer followed suit in December after being sentenced for the murder of Linda Reeves and the attempted murder of Doug Ivins. January saw the execution of Donald Grant after he robbed and murdered Brenda McAleah and Suzette Smith in 2001. Gilbert Postelle was executed on February 17, 2022. Nearly 15 years after he killed 4 people in Oklahoma, and his last meal was revealed ahead of his death. Postelle's final meal consisted of 20 chicken nuggets with various sauces, fries, a crispy chicken sandwich, 1 chicken sandwich, a large cola, and 1 caramel frap, and was approximately 3,872 calories. A trial over the state's lethal injection procedure begins February 28 in Oklahoma City Federal Court. More than 24 death row inmates are asking a judge to find the state's procedure unconstitutional. The Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals will schedule executions for those inmates if the legal challenge fails. Postelle was kicked out of the federal lawsuit because he initially didn't specify an alternative method of execution. He later gave a firing squad as an alternative, but his choice came too late. Postelle, who was lying on a gurney with his arms outstretched beside him, declined to give any last words and glanced a few times at the 7 witnesses who were in the viewing room next to the execution chamber as the execution began. A doctor entered the chamber and declared Postelle unconscious at 10:06 a.m. after rubbing his sternum, shaking him and appearing to speak to him. Thank you for watching Death Row. Today's video is sponsored by Nobility.co.uk, the leading company in selling legal titles in the United Kingdom. Get a 10% discount in any purchase by mentioning Death Row.
Here in the UK, there are 2 types of titles. Firstly, there are peerages, which are granted by the Queen. These are not allowed to be sold. Secondly, there are manorial feudal titles. These were once based on land ownership. However, since 1925, titles have been separate from the land itself, with the introduction of the Law of Property Act 1925. Here is the UK government website showing what titles are legal. Manorial feudal titles are regarded as inheritable property, which any nationality worldwide can purchase. Companies selling seated titles or titles with tiny plots of land whilst sounding good are in fact by law novelty souvenirs, not real, genuine titles. Legally approved by UK trading standards, barristers and a UK law lord, no other company has a law lord ruling, 100% legal and proper. You can add your title to passports, bank cards, etc. Even American and Canadian citizens can add the title to their passports on the observation page. All UK and foreign titles have passed 12 legal security checks before offering them for sale. Buy with confidence from the #1 title broker in the world, established 1996. Compliant with Privacy Data Protection Act 2018, the Honours Prevention and Abuses Act and Law of Property Act 1925. All processed through UK solicitors. Strictly private and confidential.